All right, let's crack open the capsule on one of the most common, most prescribed antibiotics on the entire planet, amoxicillin. It's a name pretty much all of us have heard, but what does it actually do? Well, let's dive in.
I bet you've seen this pill before, right? Maybe for strep throat, an ear infection, who knows? But have you ever really stopped and wondered what's happening inside you? How does this little capsule turn into a microscopic warrior and go to war against bacteria? You know, to really understand our hero, we first have to meet the villain. And in this story, the villains are, of course, bacteria.
So when you get sick with something like pneumonia, it's not just a few germs, it's millions, maybe billions of bacteria setting up camp inside your body. And they're not just hanging out, they are multiplying like crazy and building these protective cell walls that act just like the walls of a fortress. And that makes them really, really tough to beat. This is when your doctor decides to call in the cavalry.
And that cavalry, well, that's our hero for today, amoxicillin.
So what exactly is amoxicillin? Well, it's part of the famous penicillin family, but you can think of it as a newer, more efficient model. And the key word here, you got to remember this, is bactericidal. That means it's not just there to slow the bacteria down or stop them from growing. No way. Its whole mission is to actively kill them, to destroy them.
Okay, so we've got our villain, we've got our hero. Time for the main event, the battle. How in the world does amoxicillin actually tear down those bacterial fortresses? Okay, this is where it gets really cool. It's not just a brute force attack, it's strategic. Amoxicillin has one primary target, that fortress wall we were talking about. So first, it finds the wall. Then it gets to work blocking these special enzymes. They're called penicillin binding proteins, or PBPs for short. Think of these as the construction crew that builds and repairs the wall. With that crew taken out, the wall can't be fixed. So, as the bacterium inside tries to grow, weak spots just start popping up everywhere. And the final blow? The pressure inside the bacterium builds up. The weak wall can't take it, and pop. The whole thing literally bursts from the inside out. Fortress crumbled.
But, you know, like any hero, amoxicillin isn't invincible. It's got a very specific set of skills, and it can't win every single fight. Now, amoxicillin is what we call a broad-spectrum antibiotic, which basically means it's good against a whole range of different bacteria. It's great against the usual suspects for things like strep throat and pneumonia, but it can also handle some of the tougher gram-negative bacteria, like certain types of E. coli. But, and this is a big but, it is not a silver bullet. It doesn't work on everything, and that is precisely why you need a doctor to diagnose you, to make sure you're sending in the right hero for the right fight.
Of course, the villains in our story don't just give up that easily. They've been around for billions of years. They've evolved some pretty clever ways to defend themselves. So how do they do it?
This really shows you the constant arms race going on. A lot of bacteria have figured out how to produce an enzyme called beta-lactamase. Just think of it like an invisible force field that actually breaks amoxicillin apart before it can even get to the fortress wall. It's a brilliant defense. So to counter this, scientists created a tag team. They combine amoxicillin with another compound called clavulanic acid. This sidekick's only job is to run interference. It goes in first, disables that force field, and leaves the bacteria totally exposed for amoxicillin to come in and finish the job. Pretty smart, right?
Now, as with any big battle, there's always going to be some collateral damage. And in the world of medicine, we have a name for that: side effects.
Here's the thing. While amoxicillin is great at targeting the bad bacteria, it's not always super precise. It can end up disrupting some of the good bacteria in your body, especially the ones living in your gut. And as you can see here, that's exactly why gut issues, like nausea or diarrhea, are by far the most common side effect. You might also see skin rashes and then, less commonly, things like yeast infections or a true serious allergic reaction. And we have to be clear, some of this collateral damage can be very, very serious. That disruption to your gut can, in some rare cases, lead to a really severe infection called C. diff. And a true penicillin allergy isn't just a minor rash. It can cause hives, swelling, and even life-threatening anaphylaxis. This is why it is absolutely critical that you tell your doctor about any reaction you've ever had. And something else to be aware of, it can sometimes make oral contraceptives less effective.
This whole back and forth, this constant battle, it brings us to this single biggest challenge facing not just our antibiotic hero, but pretty much all of modern medicine.
Let's just put it plainly. This is the biggest threat in our story: antibiotic resistance. The more we use amoxicillin and other antibiotics, especially when we don't need to, the more chances we give bacteria to learn how to fight back. We are literally training them, helping them evolve into supervillains that our hero can no longer defeat. This is a massive and growing global health crisis.
So how do they get so tough? Well, they use a few main tricks. They can get much better at producing that beta-lactamase shield we talked about earlier. Or they can actually change the PBP enzymes that Amoxicillin targets. It's like changing the locks on the door so our hero's key doesn't work anymore. And some can even beef up their outer fortress walls, making it harder for the antibiotic to get inside in the first place.
So, what does this all mean for you? What can you actually do about it? It really boils down to this one single crucial piece of advice. When you stop taking an antibiotic just because you feel better, you may have killed off all the weak bacteria, but you've left the strongest, toughest ones behind, and they are now free to multiply and share the resistance secrets with others. Completing the entire course is your role in this fight. It's how we make sure our antibiotic heroes can keep on saving us from the villains for years to come. Thanks for watching.